We are joined on Issues and Interviews with Kieran Michael Lalor by New York State Senator Sue Serino. How are you, Sue?
Very good, Kieran. Thank you so much for having me.
Great to have you on. I know I had you on the radio, and we switched to this format with the video, and we also podcast it when COVID came and we couldn't use a radio station anymore. But I like this better. You know, it's really almost like a face-to-face conversation. So welcome to the new and improved video version.
Yeah, I think this is a great idea, Kieran. I love it.
Thank you. It takes a lot of time not to do radio because I got to do hair and makeup for like 45 minutes beforehand. But what are you going to do? And by the way, Sue Serino, my colleague and my friend, I saw that you were in my neighborhood yesterday. I saw a picture of you outside of my neighbor Rocco Limitone's palatial estate in Hopewell Junction.
Oh, we had a lot of fun with that one, Kieran.
I bet you did. Yeah, he's a character. He's been on this show. I call him the original Trump supporter because he was for Trump like the day Trump came down the escalator.
Oh my
God. Yes.
Yeah, we were walking in the neighborhood with Nick D'Alessandro and AJ. So
okay, cool.
Really
Two
nice.
good East Fishkill men there.
Oh, yeah.
I went to high school with Nick. He's a year older than me. Don't let him fool you. He's a year older.
I knew that. All
yeah,
right.
he's a John Jay class of 93, and I'm 94.
God,
So,
you guys are young.
I know. These kids today. But I like it. The John Jay people are taking over everything. D. Michael went to John Jay also.
Yeah.
He, of course, is running against Didi Barrett in the district north of mine, which is part of your district. That's a good place to start, actually. So tell us about your district. Where is it? Who's in it?
Yeah.
And where does it go?
Yeah, I cover most of Dutchess County. It excludes Beekman and Beekman and Unionville, or
Pauling.
Beekman and Pauling. Sorry, Beekman and Pauling. And then I have Putnam, Kent, Putt Valley, and Phillipstown.
Okay,
the big nice. 300,000 constituents, but it's great, great area.
Good, and this is your.
I'm
sorry? Have been elected 3 times. This will be your 4th time.
Yes.
All right. You're one term behind me. That's right.
Yep. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. And, so the biggest issue of really our time, at least right now, for the last 6 months, is COVID. We had a horrible debacle, deadly debacle in New York State with the nursing home deaths. And you have been a leader on aging issues. You were the chairwoman of the aging committee. Now you're the ranking member of the aging committee. And you've been very out front and very outspoken and critical of Governor Cuomo. Tell us what's going on there.
Sure. It's we've heard from so many people, so many families about what happened with the nursing homes. And when that directive was given that you could put COVID, they had to put COVID patients in a nursing home. You're with so many vulnerable elderly people, and it was just devastating. And, we talked to the Department of Health, and we gave them ideas like the step down unit that they should be doing, consider that. And they never, gave us any kind of a reply or took any action on it when they could have. And look at all the, I know some of the assisted living places that have closed throughout New York State. They could have done things regionally, paid people more to work there, use some of the COVID funds, and just had strictly COVID patients, but they chose not to. And in light of that, especially with not knowing the amount of deaths that, with the hospitals, that were coming from nursing homes, and it's just not fair. And we need to have that information. You need to have data in order to go forward, and God forbid something happens again.
Yeah, very true. And Cuomo's kind of in denial. He just came out the other day, I think it was Friday, and said no one with COVID was put in a nursing home. How is that possible? How is that a credible statement?
And, everybody knows that that's not true. We've heard from many, many people, like I said, and they wouldn't have had these situations happen, right? We wouldn't have lost so many people. And look at Janice Dean she lost her in-laws.
Yes.
She was up in Albany speaking about it, and so emotional. I think her story is, she's out front on it and telling the story that so many others have as well.
Yeah, Janice Dean, of course, a meteorologist from Fox News, and I think it was you, my man Jim Tedesco, who had the hearings because the formal Senate hearings didn't want to talk about this nursing home situation.
No, and you know what? It was one of your assemblymen. It was a bipartisan. Ron Kim was there with us too.
That's right. That's right.
It was bipartisan because this whole thing with COVID, nursing homes, our elderly. It's not an R or a D, right? It's everybody, and everybody was affected by it. So
very true.
And we're not stopping, Kieran, right? We're
No,
gonna,
we can't because it's still happening. It's still happening. Let me ask you this: my office got uh, probably in the 8 years I've had this position, the most calls that we've ever gotten was on unemployment during the early days of COVID. We're actually still getting them. I just spoke to someone this morning about an unemployment issue. He's only current through August, so the last 2 months he hasn't gotten. So you have New Yorkers who are told you can't go to work because of the pandemic, but the bright side is we're going to give you some money through your unemployment insurance, and then the system completely fails them. The system online breaks down. You can't get through on the phones, and we're still dealing with that. And Governor Cuomo is writing a book about the successes of his COVID handling. He's being hailed as a hero by the media at the Democrat National Convention. Meanwhile, you have the nursing home deaths, and the thing that doesn't get enough attention is the unemployment insurance meltdown of the whole system when people depended on it most. Have you dealt with that in your office?
oh yeah, we took care of over 3,500 people.
Wow.
I think what Albany fails to recognize, talk about, is that a lot of people live paycheck to paycheck, right? Karen, you're hearing, I'm sure, the same thing. So, and knowing that, and then to have people have to wait weeks or months, or like you just said, that guy that you were helping 2 months, and that was a typical story, because I think a lot of people don't realize that they could reach out to you and I, and that we could help them. And then I think once it started happening, that's when I know we started receiving more phone calls and we were able to help people. But just what a mess. And, and like with the businesses right now, too, when you think about it, there are still businesses that are shuttered or that can only partially open, partially function. So they're not bringing in the amount of funds that they need to do because the bills don't stop. But yet the government mandates them to shut and then doesn't help them. And doesn't give them guidelines. Terrible.
Yeah, you're right. And kept moving the goalposts. Restaurants could open and they set up some rules, then they changed the rules, then they got criticism, they changed the rules again. So, as you know, one thing businesses and the economy hates is unpredictability. COVID itself puts enough unpredictability into the economy, but if the government decision making is erratic as it was, and also not based on science, at one point you could have a beer, but you couldn't have a beer and chicken wings. You had to have what Cuomo calls something substantial, which is just crazy. I love beer and chicken wings. I found that very, very offensive for a variety of reasons. So you know what I did? I had a beer, a hamburger, a soup, and chicken wings, just to make sure that the bar owner wouldn't get in trouble.
Yeah, you covered the bases.
I did. That's the kind of guy that I am. So, and this brings up a great issue. And you mentioned the bipartisanship with my colleague Ron Kim, Assemblyman Ron Kim, and you and Tedesco, and the hearings. But one thing we don't have enough bipartisanship, despite that great example. And one thing we don't have anymore is something that is a hallmark of all levels of government in the United States. It's checks and balances. Ever since the 2018 election and when the new term started in January 2019, we have total one-party rule. We used to have a corner of checks and balances in the New York State Senate where you were. We lost that in the last election. We really need to get that back. Speak to the importance of checks and balances. Whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, you want a system that checks itself because you get a better result.
Absolutely. And when, think about law and order, right? What's happened? They started with bail reform, and we had a great, when we started last November, I think it was when I did a press conference up there about bail reform. And that was another thing, bipartisan DAs, RD. They all came to us, and the police associations as well. And we had a great momentum going. And then they were even, as you know, we were here in Dutchess, we had a meeting. And then all of a sudden, COVID hit and everything stopped. And now we have the defunding of the police, right? Which is crazy. People are really upset with what's happening in our world right now. And we need to have those checks and balances, which are so important, because a lot of times I like to say that people like to do things that just catches like a byline, but the devil's in the details.
Right.
And a lot of people, most probably don't read the details. They just read that great headline and they don't realize how important that is. So.
You're right. So, and there's a lot of good Democrats in the Senate and the Assembly, but the momentum and all the energy and the leadership of the Democratic Party right now is really on that radical fringe, the AOC types, and that's how you get bail reform. And in January and February, when crime started spiking, bail reform and discovery reform, so-called criminal justice reform, was a huge issue. COVID kind of took it out of the front pages. But we really need to continue to talk about that and address it when we go back in January, because the crime spike and the violence comes from a lot of different factors. But even before COVID, even before some of the rioting and looting, we had this huge crime spike, and it goes back to the bad decision. It goes back to the one-party rule in Albany that gave us so-called criminal justice reform. So we really need to get back to the checks and balances and revisit this issue. I think in the budget a few months ago, which seems like 100 years ago, we did tweak it a little bit so that people could say, "Oh yeah, we fixed bail reform," but it hasn't been fixed. That's got to be a number one priority come January.
Oh, I agree. And I think people are seeing it more and more too. Like they'll hear stories about people, committing a crime and then just being let loose again. So I think the public is pretty aware, but COVID did take precedence over everybody's life, right? So,
yeah, but we have to keep beating that drum.
Absolutely.
No doubt about it. And so you're a big supporter of veterans. I know you had not too far from me at the Knights of Columbus. I am actually a Knight of Columbus, and that is my council there in Fishkill. You had your veterans dinner yesterday. You had to do it a little bit different, COVID style. How did it go?
It went great. We had to do a drive-through, and of course, we never did this before, but we did it with the Golden Gathering the day before for seniors, all first time. Todd from the Aging Committee for Dutchess County was there. He really helped guide us, and we had 1,200 people on Saturday for the Golden Gathering, and then yesterday, it was great. I think almost 500 people got flu shots. So it was nice. And then yesterday we had served 215 pasta dinners for the veterans.
Wow.
And they were great. And that was Vet to Vet and Adam Roach from Dutchess County Veteran Services.
I saw him there. Yes, I saw pictures of him there.
Yeah.
Good man.
Anthony Caboris from Vet to Vet. All of his young veterans, it was great. They were all helping. Really nice. So.
What do you mean young veteran? I'm a young veteran, right?
Am
I an old veteran now? Oh, man. Yeah, I'll tell you a funny story. I have a sister, Sue. One of my sisters is named Sue. So one time, a couple weeks ago, you and I were coordinating about going to a senior citizens picnic in Hopewell, and I thought I was texting you, but I was texting my sister Sue, and I said, "Hey, what time are you getting to the senior citizens picnic?" And she was very offended, saying, "I'm only 40-something years old. Why would I be going to the senior citizens picnic?" But I was really coordinating with Sue Serino, not Sue, my sister.
That's so funny. Oh God.
And veterans, you have a couple more of these veterans dinners coming up, correct?
I have one October 18th, and that's at the Elks Club in Poughkeepsie on Over Rocker Road. And then we have another one October 25th in Beacon that we're going to be putting the information out on too. So
that's great. Drive-through pasta. How does that work? How does drive-through pasta? Do they eat it in the car or wait till they get home?
They could. They probably take it home. But Vet to Vet does a great job with giving them a goodie bag too. So they get some nice surprises.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. Yeah, that's a great organization. I was very happy when Adam Roach was named the veterans director for the whole county. He's a good man. He was my student. When I was a teacher at Lourdes, he was my student. And his family went to St. Mary's in Wappingers, where my family went. He's probably 5 or 6 years younger than me, but I've known the Roaches pretty much my whole life. So a good man, a good choice right there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And you just over the weekend, I think, or a couple of days ago, you gave a great award, the Women of Distinction Award, to a mutual friend of ours. Tell us about it.
Oh, yeah. Krista Jones from Sparrows Nest. She's done an amazing job. I remember, like I'm sure you do, Kieran, because I think you lived close to them, right? When she started in her kitchen.
Yes.
Serving families that have cancer, that are going through cancer treatments. And she was amazing. She even brought dinner to me. And I was just like so overwhelmed.
Wow.
That they do that. And it's amazing how many families they take care of. When you think of all the people that have cancer throughout the counties, I think they take care of like 4 counties. So they travel a lot. And she's just got a heart of gold. One of the nicest people, right, that you'll ever meet. And so well deserved to get that award.
Yeah, it's such a great idea, too. It's something you don't really think of. At least I never think of it. You have all the stress. Someone in the family has cancer, especially the mom. You have all the stress of dealing with that. The basic stress of having dinner ready for the family can be overwhelming. So Sparrows Nest takes care of a few meals a week or however many you need. And I've referred constituents and friends to Sparrows Nest over the years. It makes so much sense. It's such a great idea and plays such a great role in the lives of people who are really going through a tough time.
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
And a couple of years ago, I ran the Vegas half marathon in support of Sparrows North, along with my wife. My wife has been involved with Sparrows North over the years. So we're out in Vegas, had a good time in Vegas, and then we had to run 13.1 miles through the Vegas streets. So yeah, it was good though. It was good. Good cause, you know.
Oh, it is definitely a good cause. Yeah.
When you're running, and running is a big part of their kind of their networking and their fundraising. So when you're running for Sparrows Nest, you know, it's hard to really complain about the fact that you don't feel good. Did we lose you, Sue?
Oh, sorry.
I lost
Kieran.
you there for a second.
Yeah, no, because I
You're
was
back.
on the phone. I got a call. Yeah, I'm so sorry.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Well, you're back. It's good to have you back.
Yeah.
Great job with the award there for the Sparrows Nest founder. And give us, as we wrap up here, just give us where we can find out about you and your campaign, support your campaign. Where's the website and all that?
Yep. Serino for New York. SueSerino.com. Sorry, SueSerino.com. They can just contact us that way. And, you know, we're looking for volunteers, for anybody that wants to come and help us. We're putting out signs and doing a lot, talking to a lot of people. So we appreciate any help anybody would love to offer. We've had a lot of people coming forward this year from all over the place.
Great.
It's been overwhelming and heartwarming for sure.
So do you remember, this feels like 700 years ago, but you kicked off your campaign. It must have been January, February in the Milanese restaurant
Oh, yes.
before COVID. Doesn't that seem like
It does.
just eons ago?
Yes.
And you gave me the privilege of speaking there. And the thing I said about Sue Serino, I hope you remember this, everybody who's watching or listening to this, the most prized characteristic in politics is authenticity. And people hire consultants on how they can be more authentic, which is kind of ironic and backwards. But Sue Serino is the most authentic person in Albany. This is Sue Serino. She's a real person. She could be your neighbor. She could be the woman that you grew up with. She's as real as the day is long. She cares about our community. She works hard for our community. Put Republican, Democrat, liberal, conservative aside, just a person who is real. And what you see is what you get, and really cares about the people that she works for and serves. And I'm proud to be a supporter and a friend and a colleague of yours, Sue. So definitely check out the website. November 3rd is coming up, and you can even vote early in early voting and absentee voting and everything else.
Thank you so much, Kieran. And it's always great working with you. You know, you do such a great job too, and it's really nice to have somebody I share the district with that really cares about the community. So
yeah. It's funny because people don't know, but when there's big bills are coming, maybe they come to the Senate first, they come to the Assembly first. We text, what are you going to do on this? What do you think about this? What about that? And it's great to have you as somebody to kind of bounce things off of and hear your perspective, hear what's happening in the Senate. We're right down the hallway from each other, but you can't run down. So we're very high tech and modern, texting each other. Yeah, that's great.
Great.
All right. Well, all the best to you, Sue. Anything I can do to help, I certainly will.
All right. Thank you, Kieran. And
Take care. Thanks for your time today.
Thank you. All right,
Bye-bye.